The city of Durban, a bustling African city with historic buildings and a sprawling coastline. These are features that could make an interesting backdrop to any blockbuster movie. Tony Monti is the lady behind the strategy that will see the city stake in its claim as a viable city of film. Her task is to position Durban as a global film city.
Well, interestingly enough, Durban's actually got quite a long history with the film industry. We have one of the first cinemas that ever opened in South Africa. In terms of during the apartheid era, there was a lot of activity happening behind the scenes in terms of the film industry in Durban. So it's actually got quite a rich history in Durban. We have one of the only independent cinemas in South Africa, and that's Avalon Cinemas, based here in Durban. We have one of the biggest producers, biggest producer of content in South Africa, and that is Video Vision Entertainment with Anand Singh. But yes, at the end of the day, we don't have a huge industry. When you compare it to the Western Cape, when you compare it to Gauteng, we are still a relatively small industry. We have increased our market share over the last couple of years, but I think we would have a long way to go to compete with the Western Cape and Gauteng.
The Durban Film Office prefers to focus its energies on developing skills and talent within the film industry.
I don't think we're trying to play catch up. We really are trying to provide an opportunity for the local talent, and there is a lot of local talent, both existing, established, as well as aspirant, that are wanting to access the industry, and we are really just trying to provide that platform for them to take their careers further.
Morning, Dr. Subin.
Hi, Joe.
I'm very well on yourself, sir.
Good.
What you drawing today, sir?
Gaddafi.
Also helping to take the careers of creatives further is the Durban Center for Fine Art, Animation and Design. Established in 1994, the school is the brainchild of respected cartoonist and animation guru Dr. Nanda Suben. Like many before him, his career was limited by the draconian race laws of the past. He overcame those obstacles to become South Africa's first black political cartoonist.
My first cartoon was about non-racial sport. People who had talent were not able to play in the right arenas, and then the mainstream sport in South Africa was white sport, and I came from a background of the non-racial sports struggle, where I had family members who were involved in the federation and in SACOS and things like that, and that's how I was actually politicized.
Dr. Suben has paid his dues to become one of KZN and South Africa's most renowned political cartoonists. He is very clear on how he has achieved this.
What makes a good political cartoonist is you got to be able to draw, and then you got to take the drawing and exaggerate it, and it mustn't look like a portrait. It must resemble the guy, but it must turn it into a caricature instead of a portrait. If he has a big nose, you make his nose bigger, but the resemblance must be there. That is one aspect to it. The other aspect is you got to say something. It's one thing drawing it. It's got to be another thing to say something, put a story to it, put a caption to it, and it has to have a punch. And then you got to tie the two. A lot of guys can draw, but they can't think, and a lot of guys have ideas, but they can't draw. You got to have the two elements to be able to be a good cartoonist.
After spending a number of years studying abroad, Dr. Suben returned to South Africa, where he saw a thirst for the knowledge of animation he had mastered. It was eventually to inspire him to open this institution.
Well, look, I didn't think I was going to open a school. When I studied animation in New York, it was for me to be able to animate my cartoons. And then when I came down to South Africa with the computers, a lot of people wanted to learn how to use a computer for graphic design. And I started teaching a few friends, and then everyone wanted to learn. Students who were studying graphic design at the Technicon, they all wanted to learn. And on a Saturday morning, my living room was full of people who wanted to learn. And that's what motivated me to open the school. Basically, when I opened the school, it was mostly non-whites. It wasn't about You know, when I opened this school, there were other schools that also opened it, multimedia schools. And they were for the rich kids because multimedia education was quite expensive. You had to spend like, 20 years ago, the guys were paying 40,000 rands to learn multimedia. And I was charging 2,000 rands. And it was, I had to charge that amount. I would have done it for free, but because I had to buy more computers and stuff like that.
The Center for Fine Art, Animation and Design has produced highly skilled graphic designers and animators for both the local and international markets. It has also been recognized as a center of excellence.
I think the unique point about the training program is that it's integrated. We've taken a graphic design diploma and we've added animation, we've added fine art, we've added TV commercial production, broadcast graphics, web design, and we've created a 3-year integrated fine art, animation and graphic design diploma. And the other interesting thing about the training is that we believe that the computer is a very high-tech tool, but one needs to be able to do traditional work as an artist first before you use the software or employ the software to create exciting designs and things like that.